Hello everyone, this is part 27 of What If Naruto Meets the Nine Tails Early, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. What these are. Yep, the ramen recipes of the Uzumaki, said Naruto, showing that black book to Tsuki upon arriving back in Konoha. I know, but every ramen chef has thought these recipes lost. I can't believe I'm actually holding them, replied Tsuki reading through the recipes. Tsuki couldn't stop shaking his hands and he was practically crying at the fortune that had just presented itself. Where did you get these? I kind of found them in my great-grandfather's locker in Azushiogakur no Sato, said Naruto. Tsuki's eyes picked up by Naruto's mentioning of a family member. Naruto had never actually referred to an actual family member in the past. So you know, don't you? Said Tsuki, reaching under his counter into a locked drawer. Yeah, Ero Sennin told me, said Naruto. But how do you know? I've known you were their child. Back before you were born, those two were practically inseparable and they were two of my best customers. I knew your mother was pregnant with a child and after I saw you for the first time, after you told me your name I began to put the pieces together, explained Tsuki. Besides, you look just like him. I'm surprised no one else has figured out. Yeah, but they probably just saw me for what was inside me, said Naruto, lowering his head. Tsuki gave Naruto a few reassuring words. So do you think you can make those recipes for me, old man? These are some of the greatest ramen recipes in history. Of course I'll make them. Who wouldn't? I'm just honored that you're letting me be the one to make them, said Tsuki. Well, Ichiraku is the best, so who else would make them the way they're supposed to be besides you? Said Naruto, smiling. Just for that, I'll make you a bowl on the house. For the Uzumaki recipes though, I need to get the ingredients, but I promise you'll be the first to have a bowl of Ichiraku's new Uzumaki-style ramen, said Tsuki, plopping down a bowl of Naruto's favorite ramen. Ah, there you are. Why am I not surprised, said Jiraiya, entering Ichiraku to find Naruto. Come on, now's no time for ramen. We've got to go see Tsunade and tell her about the events that happened. Naruto groaned while leaving the stand, but not before Tsuki handed Naruto a familiar blue book. That was your mother's. She actually completed it about 4 months before you were born at my shop, said Tsuki, handing Naruto his mother's ramen passport before he left. None of what you're saying is very comforting, Jiraiya, said Tsunade. Naruto and Jiraiya were in Tsunade's office, describing the confrontation they had with the Sound and Kabuto. And the worst part is that I'm certain we kept them from getting access to the archives, but I've still got a feeling that Kabuto managed to find something. He had that look, said Jiraiya. I know what you mean. Orochimaru's always been a slimy bastard. Always managing to get away with something no matter how much we try and stop him, said Tsunade. Anyways, we don't have any leads on where Orochimaru may be hiding, so unfortunately all we can do now is sit back until your spy network uncovers something. Yeah, anyways we actually made some good progress before Kabuto's intervention. I did tell Naruto what I said I was going to say and we actually discovered something about his heritage that was surprising, said Jiraiya. Tsunade's eyebrow raised in interest. The brat here is actually the great-great-grandson of the Shodai Mizukage, Shuichi Uzumaki. Really? Said Tsunade. You know, I've gotten to the point where nothing about him would surprise me anymore, and yet he still surprises me. Hey, that's not all. Check out the goodies we found, said Jiraiya, unsealing a scroll, revealing the Azumaku Shio no Ken that they uncovered in the lockers. Is that? Said Tsunade, her eyes widening. Yep, the Uzumaki Shio no Ken. The famed sword of the Uzumakis that was thought lost decades ago, said Jiraiya. Tsunade unsheathed the sword and looked on in amazement. This was definitely the sword of the Uzumakis. And Ero Sennin said he'd teach me Kenjutsu. Exclaimed Naruto. Tsunade got a laugh out of that. What's so funny, Barkin? Nothing, brat. Just you, the sword type, I don't see it, said Tsunade, trying to control her laughter. Jiraiya and Shizune's sweat dropped as they knew all too well what was coming. Oh yeah. Well I think I am. exclaimed Naruto. I know you're not and I'm willing to bet you're not, said Tsunade. Fine. This just means that I am the sword type. After all, you're not too good at winning bets, Barkin, said Naruto. Alright brat, if you can come back after your training trip and honestly tell me that you prefer fighting with the sword after your couple of years with this old pervert, then I'll admit that perhaps you are the sword type and I'll even buy you a month's supply of ramen. And if not, well, you've still got a lot of money left from our last casino adventure, so if you're not, then you owe 7,000 ryo, said Tsunade. Just enough for a case of my favorite sake. Fine, you've got a bet, Barkin. I'm going to enjoy an entire month of free ramen when I get back to Bio, exclaimed Naruto, shaking Tsunade's hand, sealing the bet. Jiraiya coughed. Tsunade snapped back out of Vegas. Anyways, how was the progress with the sealing research? Asked Tsunade. Good. I might have found something, but I need to discuss that with you since it's a type of medical seal, said Jiraiya. Tsunade nodded. Also, Naruto's made some pretty good progress. He's actually more than proficient with storage seals and we started explosive seals. For a month's time, he's come really far. Good. I look forward to seeing how far he's come in the exams coming up in 3 weeks, assuming he can go, said Tsunade. Huh, why wouldn't I be able to go? Asked Naruto. Because, I can't get a hold of Kakashi or Sasuke, and knowing Kakashi, he'll show up the day after the exam starts, said Tsunade. Dealing with Kakashi's habitual tardiness was not the highlight of her career as Hokage. Actually, that's where I would win the bet. I'm sure Kakashi will be back in 2 weeks' time, said Jiraiya. Really? And why's that? Asked Tsunade. Jiraiya pulled a book out from his pack, a red-bound Ika book, the same one he finished at the beginning of their trip. Is that more of your smut? Asked Tsunade. It's not smut, defended Jiraiya. Naruto nodded with Tsunade, supporting her. Anyways, my next book is scheduled to be released in 2 weeks' time, and if I know Kakashi, he'll be back in time for the release. Sadly, I actually agree with you. Alright, Naruto, you've got 2 weeks then until I order the reconvening of your team for the exams, said Tsunade. Great. 2 weeks where I can train, said Naruto. I've got to get this jutsu down so that you'll let me choose AB rank wind jutsu. Haha, and who said you'd have time to train, laughed Tsunade. You've been gone for a month, training, and you're going to be gone for a few years, training. Nope. I've got a mission for you, so report to my office tomorrow at 9 a.m. Naruto sighed and groaned as he left the office. His only hope now was to get the jutsu done while he was on his mission and then get the new B rank jutsu and do nothing but focus on it until the Chunin exams. Jiraiya left the office as well and Tsunade heard a knock on the door. Her 3 p.m. appointment was here. Come in, she said. In stepped a man and what appeared to be his son. They both had pale eyes, marking him as Hyuga. Ah, Hyuga Kenjo and Hyuga Shinji, what can I do for you? The elder Hyuga spoke up. Hokage-sama, as you know, the Chunin exams are coming up in 3 weeks. While I understand that my son's team has not been nominated for the exams, his sensei did comment that Shinji here is in fact ready for the exams. I'd like to request that he be assigned to a temporary team for the purpose of taking the exams, said Kenjo. Tsunade thought for a moment. She didn't like dealing with Hyugas all that much, especially the main branch Hyuga. The branch members were fine and Hiashi was tolerable, but the rest of the main branch was, well, arrogant and prideful as hell. While I would like to honor your request, you are aware that teams consist of 3 members. And unfortunately, at this point in time, we don't have enough genin where I can put together a 3-man squad for these exams. I understand that is how you usually approach these situations, gathering together 3 unteamed genin and forming a team from them, but is it not possible to place Shinji on a team that already has 2 members? I believe Team Asuma is short 1 member because of the promotion of Nara Shikamaru after the last exam, said Kenjo. Damn, said Tsunade. She was hoping that Kenjo would just drop it there, although she knew he wouldn't. It was true that Asuma had recommended his team last week for the exams, or at least the remaining 2 members that were not Chunin. It was also true that he was looking for a 3rd member. What would most likely happen is that if she denied Kenjo's request now, he would go to the village council and get them on her A for why she did not assign Shinji to a 2-man team that was in the process of looking for a 3rd member. It would be a major headache for her, one she did not want at this point. So Hokage-sama, is it possible we could assign Shinji here with Yamanaka Ino and Akamaiki Chuji on Sarutobi Asuma's team? Pressed Kenjo. Tsunade gave in, not wanting to get the council on her case. Very well, I will speak with Asuma and arrange for a few times for Shinji, Ino, and Chuji to meet and work on their teamwork. Speaking of which, Shinji, for that team, teamwork is the most important attribute, do you understand me? If you are to join that team, then you must show that you can work well with Ino and Chuji. I understand, Hokage-sama. I'll try my best to find my place on that team, said Shinji. He and his father gave Tsunade a quick bow before leaving the office. Asuma's going to hate me, thought Tsunade. Damn it, why does Hinata have to be on a mission today? And to make it worse, Barkan said she's got a mission that will take me all of these next few weeks, so I won't get to see her until then. And even then, everyone's going to be focused on the upcoming Chunin exams. And it's even starting to get late. I guess I could get training, but it won't be anything like if I were to have an entire day, thought Naruto, dragging himself towards the training grounds. Naruto. Naruto heard a familiar voice coming from behind him. He turned around to see his pink-haired teammate hastily walking towards him. Sakura, what are you doing here? Asked Naruto. Wait, did you see your hair or something? Sakura looked at Naruto, a little confused, but then realized that Naruto hadn't seen her new hair. She had it only at about end length now, instead of mid-back length. Oh yeah, I did. I actually kind of like it. Honestly, I only grew it out as a way to get Sasuke's attention, but I figured I should worry about my shinobi training before worrying about growing my hair. Anyways, I just got done with my work for today. Suan Shisu let me off early because she said she had a mission for me tomorrow, said Sakura. Huh, really? She said she had a mission for me as well. Do you think we are on the same mission? Asked Naruto. Well, I would suppose. I mean, we are on the same team. Hey, speaking of which, have you seen Sasuke at all? There are some rumors going around about his disappearance around the same time you left with Jiraiya-sama. Something about leaving with a snake pedophile or something, said Sakura. Huh, someone spreading rumors about Sasuke leaving for Orochimaru. Asked Naruto. That would never happen. I mean, you were there when we fought with Orochimaru's freaks. In what world would Sasuke ever betray us for that snake? Yeah, don't remind me. Watching Sasuke nearly even if he was trying to save me, is not something I want to remember. Besides, my side is still slightly sore from that, said Sakura, clasping a hand over her left ribcage. So anyways, what have you been up to? Naruto looked surprised at Sakura. For once, she was showing a hint of interest in what he had been doing. You know, traveling with Ero Sennin, training and finding out about my ancestors, said Naruto. Ancestors. Sakura looked at Naruto with a bewildered look on her face. This was the first time Naruto had ever referred to family. As far as they knew, he was an orphan with no family since he was born. Yeah, Ero Sennin and I went to Uzushiogakure and there he taught me about Fuinjutsu and my ancestors. I even found out who my mother. Naruto stopped there. Ero Sennin had said he could discuss his mother, but he couldn't talk about his father. That would still need to remain a secret. Your mother? Asked Sakura. Yeah, she was really beautiful and had long red hair. And I heard she was one hell of a kunoichi, said Naruto. Naruto told Sakura a few other things he heard about his mother, leaving out the Jinchuriki part. Wow, that's great that you found out about your mother and that she turned out to be who she was. So did you learn anything about your father? Asked Sakura. Naruto slightly panicked. In truth, he wanted to tell everyone. He wanted everyone to know he was the Yondaim's son. He wanted to see the look on every villager's face. It would be like the ultimate prank on the village, but he promised Jiraiya he wouldn't say anything. No, I still can't find anything on my father. My mother was orphaned as a baby when Uzushiogakure was destroyed and she was brought to the village as a young child, so my father was probably a ninja of this village at some point in time, but I don't know who he was, said Naruto, doing his best to act sad and depressed. Naruto, I'm sorry for bringing that up, apologized Sakura. It's okay, Sakura. I'm just happy I know who my mom is, said Naruto, giving her a grin. So what have you been up to this past month? Don't ask. Tsunade Shisho is an excellent teacher, but there's just so much. I've been spending practically every day from dawn until dusk studying everything there is on medicine. I swear I spend more time studying now than I ever did back in the academy, but it's been worth it. My chakra control's gotten so much better and she's even begun to teach me some actual medical ninjutsu, replied Sakura. Wow, that's great, exclaimed Naruto. It sounds like you're going to be ready for the upcoming exams. I hope so. I think I've finally found what I'm good at, something that won't make me a burden to the two of you, said Sakura, trailing off. Sakura, you've never been a burden. What made you think that? Asked Naruto. Well, to be honest, you and Sasuke have always been getting stronger and stronger at a pace that I thought I could never catch. And then against those sound freaks, I wasn't able to do much besides nearly get Sasuke, said a depressed Sakura. Nonsense, if it wasn't for you, I might have been seriously hurt there, said Naruto. Sakura picked her head up and looked at him. I knew that six-armed guy had me trapped and I wouldn't have been able to free myself in time if it wasn't for your genjutsu. So thank you for that. You're not a burden, you were just missing what you were really good at and I think you've found it. You're going to get really strong, I know it. So strong that everyone, even Sasuke will have to take notice, said Naruto, offering Sakura the nice guy pose. Naruto, thank you. I'm giving up on being one of Sasuke's fangirls, Sakura said. Naruto looked at her confused. But that doesn't mean you should give up on Sasuke, said Naruto. I'm not. I'm just taking a note from you and Hinata, said Sakura, earning a questioning look from Naruto. The two of you have been there for each other, supporting each other and helping one another no matter what life has thrown at you and you ended up together. I'm not giving up on Sasuke, but being one of his fangirls has done nothing but hinder my ninja training. I think that's what he wants, someone who is themselves and can help him, not hold him back. So that's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be a kicker medical ninja and do whatever I can to truly help him. It's kind of a win-win. And if you need any help from me, don't be afraid to ask. I've held you back as well and I'm done doing so. Naruto couldn't help but smile at Sakura's newfound resolve. That is until she began talking again. Now, about you, Fuinjutsu. You. Seriously, what have you been up to this past month? What? No really, I've been studying Fuinjutsu, said Naruto. Come on, Naruto. Fuinjutsu is even more scholarly than medicine and I've never seen you as the scholarly type, argued Sakura. What is wrong with everyone? First Shizune and now you. Why doesn't everyone believe I'm learning Fuinjutsu? Asked a pouting Naruto. Not to mention the furball inside my head. I swear I couldn't get him to stop laughing the entire trip. I'll even show you, watch. Naruto pulled out a scroll and began to scribe a more advanced storage seal. He took his own equipment and Sakura's equipment and sealed them within the scroll. Sakura just stared in awe. Naruto wasn't lying about the Fuinjutsu part. He really could make his own seals. I've only started my training and can only do storage seals and explosive seals, but Ero Sennin even said that's pretty advanced for someone who's only been studying it for a month. Oh, that reminds me, are you eventually going to learn medical seals? Yeah, Shosho told me she would begin teaching me once I've mastered a few more medical jutsu. Why? Asked Sakura. Because my great-grandfather had a lot of seals that he passed on to me and I think some of them were medical seals. I can take a look through them and give them to you if you want. I'm sure you could find them useful, said Naruto. Really? Are you sure? I mean those are your family's seals, said Sakura. If this wasn't Naruto, she would be in disbelief for someone offering her advanced Uzumaki seals. Even she had heard of the sealing prowess of the Uzumakis. She supposed that's why Naruto was actually good at sealing, because his last name was Uzumaki. Yeah, I mean you would have more use for them. I might be learning Fuinjutsu, but I don't think medical seals are my specialty. I might look into them, but nowhere near the extent you will, said Naruto. With that Naruto left to try and get in some training for the day on his new wind jutsu. Sakura looked on as Naruto left. She couldn't help but feel jealous about a lot of things that involved Naruto. Team Guy was the only other team in the Konoha 13 that was still in Konoha. Team 8 and Team 10 were both on missions and Team 7 was still considered disbanded. Guy had been pushing his team to the bone to prepare them for the upcoming Chunin exams which they would also be participating in. Unfortunately for Neji, Lee, and Tenten, Guy had turned these Chunin exams into another campaign with Kakashi. The winner would be the teacher with the most students to be promoted Chunin from the exams. As such, he had been spending as much free time working with and preparing his team. Of course, for Neji and Tenten, this meant workouts that, in all reality, only Lee could keep up with. However, all three of them were determined to do the best until the Chunin exams so that they would all be promoted. That was the goal all three of them had set, was to see that they finally made Chunin, and make their sensei or families proud of them. When the workout for the day came to an end, Neji and Tenten found the two of them collapsed on the ground, completely exhausted. Lee, on the other hand, was still bouncing off of trees as he was finishing his self-imposed part of the workout. Neji, I don't think I can get up, grunted Tenten. Her entire body was sore and exhausted. Neji managed to get to his feet, although still a little shaky. He then offered a hand to Tenten and helped her up, having to help support her so her legs wouldn't give out from exhaustion. Guy-sensei's really been overworking us, hasn't he? Yes, but I agree with him that we need to be ready for these exams. From what I understand, the Kumo exams are different from our own, said Neji. Tenten asked why and Neji answered. From what I've been told, there are more people in these exams and as such, the tests are more demanding as a result. Of course we will all do fine, but a little preparation never hurt. Tell that to my legs, arms, and back, replied Tenten. This actually earned a rare laugh from Neji. Guy-sensei may be a little extreme, but he truly does care for our progress and he truly wants to see us succeed, said Neji. If a little hard work means a promotion, then I would gladly run laps on my hands with Lee before sunrise. What's gotten into you, Mr. Fate determines everything, joked Tenten. Ever since the first exams, you've been more open to working for things and less into fate and everything. It's like Lee's brushed off on you. Naruto. Huh? Asked Tenten. What about Naruto? He's the one who opened my eyes for once. He showed me the truth of believing in oneself. He and Lee are alike in that respect, and it took a little bit of what Naruto gave me to get Lee back to the point he's at now, said Neji. Why, do you ask? Is there something wrong with me? No, just that you've changed quite a lot over the past months. I kind of like it, said Tenten, blushing slightly. You've become more respectful, stronger, and even a bit more handsome. Huh, what was that last part? Asked Neji. Oh, nothing really, said Tenten, laughing that last comment of and trying to hide her blush. A minute or two later, the two arrived at Tenten's father's shop and they went their separate ways. Neji arrived back at the Hyuga compound where his uncle was waiting for him. Neji, we need to talk about something, said Hiashi. He led his nephew to his study. What is it you need to talk to me about, uncle? Asked Neji. There are a few things I need to discuss. All of them revolving around the upcoming Chunin exams, said Hiashi. As you know, the exams are at Kumogakur no Sato. I hate to bring this up, but you remember the incident 9 years ago regarding Kumo and our clan. Neji didn't want to remember, but he did. That was the incident that had taken his father from him as a boy. He had forgiven the main branch as he learned the real reason why his father was offered to Kumo in Hiashi's place, but he still hadn't forgiven Kumo. While they may have agreed not to take any action towards trying to steal the Byakugan, I still don't quite trust them. You think they could target Hinata? Asked Neji. I do. Normally, I would not have allowed her to participate in these exams, but she personally requested that I allow her to compete a few weeks ago. She's becoming more confident with herself, ever since she and Naruto began spending more time together. Last Chunin exam, interrupted Neji. Yes, and as seen from her last spar with Hanabi, it's still a fragile confidence. I couldn't afford to break it by refusing her request to participate. Not to mention, she needs as many opportunities to prove herself to the elders. If she can make Chunin at these exams, it will help sway the elders in her favor, said Hiashi. At least enough to give her some more breathing room with them. They are still coming onto her pretty hard, aren't they? Asked Neji. Yes, I'm afraid that no matter how strong she may find she can become, she will always be seen as weak by them for being kind and gentle. The elders favor a strict leader who can keep the traditional values of the clan in line, the type of person I fear they are manipulating Hanabi into, said Hiashi. Well, isn't there anything we can do? Asked Neji. For you, just keep an eye out for Hinata. The two of you have grown closer and she sees you as an older brother. If there is anyone in the clan she trusts, it's you. Just do what you can to help her. I want her to become the person this clan deserves as a leader. One who is strong, yet kind and fair. Besides, I'm sure you won't be alone with this. I'm certain Naruto would help you if you simply ask. I'm glad that he finally saw my daughter's true feeling for him, said Hiashi. Uncle, about that, I have a great deal of respect for Naruto, but there is a lot about him that is still a mystery. In particular, why you have had no opposition to him dating Hinata-sama, said Neji. I hate to sound like this, but Naruto's an orphan, whose heritage is unknown except for the fact that he came from some family in the Uzumaki clan. He's been hated by the village for, well how do I put this? Hiashi sighed. So you know, don't you? Asked Hiashi. Neji nodded. How did you find out? It during our fight months ago. When he called upon that weird chakra. I knew I felt it before, even if it was a long time ago. And then, I saw it, with my Byakugan. Neji was hushed by Hiashi. It still is forbidden to speak about that, said Hiashi. I am sorry uncle, I didn't mean to, said Neji. No matter, the question now is, how do you feel about Naruto after knowing that? Asked Hiashi. I sincerely regret what I said to him back in the exams. It explains a lot about him and I never expected him to have to bear such a burden. I actually find myself respecting him more for it, said Neji. But why him? Why burden him with that fate? Neji, no matter how powerful a shinobi the Yondaime was, it was the only way to save the village, said Hiashi. I should know, we were on a team together. I don't wish to speak on this matter anymore, just know that Naruto is doing what must be done to keep the village safe, even if the village hates him because of it. This was never the way things were supposed to work out for Naruto, but there is nothing that can be done to change the past. Regardless of what should have happened, it has helped make him the person he is right now. If you need any help with my daughter, I'm sure he'll be more than willing to assist. I agree and I could use all the help I can get. An unsealed Byakugan in the middle of Kumogakaru no Sato is like throwing a single piece of candy into a daycare full of 5-year-olds, said Neji. Two unsealed Byakugans, said Hiashi. Neji didn't like where this was going. I thought you said he wasn't ready for these exams, said Neji. I don't think he is. He doesn't understand anything about what this village and these exams are about, but his father must have pulled some strings and somehow, Shinji ended up filling the final spot on Team Asuma, explained Hiashi. Neji practically cursed in his head. Shinji was most definitely seen as a main branch, Hyuga, with the arrogance and pole up his to go along with the la. If it wasn't for Chuji and Ino, Neji would most certainly try to ensure Shinji didn't pass. Even so, Shinji was the last person Neji wanted to face in combat. Neji's skills were far above Shinji, but there was one thing that was deferring his actions, the seal. Uncle, what is the progress on, asked Neji, secretly. Jiraiya-sensei's efforts have opened a few possibilities, but the solution is still far away and both of us doubt that the removal seal will be available before the exams are over, said Hiashi. Neji sighed. He would have to play obedient branch member around Shinji now. Hinata and Hiashi were the only main branch members who ever showed him some respect and kindness. For that, he was grateful, but the way the rest of the main family was treating the branch was still drying his patience. I am sorry, but I must ask you to look out for both Hinata and Shinji while at the exam. I have no problem with Hinata-sama, but Shinji, Neji stopped himself before some colorful words could manifest themselves in the relatively clean mind of the Hyuga prodigy. I will do my best, uncle. If anything for you and Hinata-sama. Neji stood up and exited the room, a myriad of thoughts swirling around in his head now after that discussion. Naruto and Sakura were inside Tsunade's office the following morning. They had been right in the fact that they were being given this mission together. However, they were still waiting for one more member of the team. After a few minutes of waiting, the final member of their team finally showed up in a flash of green that burst through the door. Konoha's green beast, reporting for duty Hokage-sama, said Lee, causing Naruto and Sakura's sweat to drop a bit. I guess this means we are going on a mission with bushy brows, said Naruto to Sakura. Looks like it, she responded. Good, now that the three of you are here, I can begin the mission briefing, addressed Tsunade. Naruto, Sakura, and Lee lined up in front of the. We've received a mission request from a band of merchants, requiring an escort from Richigo Town, in the western regions of the Land of Fire, to the Land of Greens. You three are to rendezvous with the caravan and provide protection for them on their journey to the Land of Greens. You are expected to encounter nothing more than common bandits and a possible low genin level ninja or two, something I think you all can handle. But Barkan, I've got to train. I still need to get this jutsu down and prepare for the upcoming exams, complained Naruto. Naruto, you've had all month to train and you'll have 2 whole years to train after you leave with Jiraiya, so you've got to contribute to the village somehow while you're here. Besides, I need a team to send Lee on a mission since Hyuga Hiashi has pulled Neji for some clan business and Tenten has been admitted to the hospital with multiple stress fractures in her legs and arms, most likely courtesy of Guy's extreme workouts. No offense Tsunade-sama, but why do I specifically have to go on a mission? Asked Lee. Because, ever since your surgery, you've had plenty of rehabilitation and training, but no mission work. I need to be sure that you can resume mission duties before I clear you for these exams, said Tsunade. Lee nodded. Any other complaints? Everyone was silent. Good. Sakura, I am appointing you the leader of the mission. This will be classified as AC rank and I expect this mission will take around a week and a half's time. When you return, depending on the success of your mission, I'll give the 3 of you the rest of the time before the exam to prepare. Dismissed. Ordered Tsunade. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.